The teenagers of Springfield, Illinois are having nightmares. Dina and her best friend Nancy acknowledge that they are dreaming about the same creature, a hideously burned man in a dirty red and green sweater who bears a not weapon, a glove with razor's fingers. When Dina is brutally murdered in her bed one night, suspicion falls upon her volatile boyfriend Rod, who was the only other person in the room with Dina when she died. But Rod swears he didn't do it, and tells Nancy that he has been suffering from terrible nightmares too, in which a knife-finger man is trying to kill him. Nancy begins to suspect that something evil is happening within their dreams, and that perhaps that bohemian is real. When Rod turns up the red in his jail cell, Nancy convinced that the ghostly killer is stalking them in their sleep. Her mother, worried for Nancy's sanity, takes her to a dream clinic where her sleep patterns can be monitored. When Nancy awakens screaming from a nightmare with a bloody slash mark on her arm, she shows her mother and the doctor what she has pulled out of the dream, the battered fedora that the killer always wears. The hat bears a name tag, Fred Krueger. Nancy's mother recognizes the name and soon tells Nancy the story of a brutal child killer who had terrorized the town since many years ago. When he was released on a technicality, Nancy's parents and the parent of the other nightmare-plagued children hauled from Freddy Krueger down and burned him alive. Fred Krueger is dead, but he has found a way to return and wreak vengeance upon the children of his killers. Nancy knows that she must find a way to stop him before he kills her and everyone else on Elm Street.
The movie was produced by Robert Shea, and it was written and directed by Wes Craven. The actors that we had are Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, Heather Langenkamp as Nancy Thompson, Johnny Depp as Glenn Lance, John Saxon as Tenant Donald Thompson, Amanda Weiss as Tina Gray, Ronnie Blackley as Marge Thompson, Isu Garcia as Broad Lane, Lynn Shea as the Professor, Charles Fleischer as Dr. King, Joseph Whipp as Sergeant Parker, Joe Unger as Sergeant Garcia, Mimi Craven as the nurse, Ed Call as Senior Lance, Sandy Lipton as Senora Lance, David Andrews as Foreman, Donna Woodrum as Mother of Tina, Leslie Hoffman as the Hall Guard, Ash Adams as the Surfers.
Craven filmed A Nightmare on Elm Street on an estimated budget of $1.8 million. The film was released on November 9th of 1984 and grossed $57 million worldwide. A Nightmare on Elm Street was met with rave critical reviews and is considered to be one of the greatest horror films ever made, spanning a franchise consisting of 6 sequels, a television series, a crossover with Friday the 13th, and various other merchandise. A Nightmare on Elm Street is one of the pioneers of slasher genre, which consists of a murderer that in its majority kills teens with a knife, with razors, etc. It always depends on that in the slasher genre. It is a murderer. A Nightmare on Elm Street is very successful saga. and it has won a lot of awards, as the Best DVD Classic Film Release, Best Horror Film by the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy and Horror Films of USA, the Online Film and Television Association, it won Motion Picture, the